Well, it is time for our monthly check-in with Police Chief Wade Gourley, where we talk about what's happening in the city and within the department. Chief Gourley joins us now live here in studio. And Chief, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
You bet. Good morning to you.
Okay, let's talk about this that's, a lot of people are talking about right now, this controversial immigration bill that was just signed by Governor Kevin Stitt, which would allow law enforcement to enforce immigration law. Talk about how the department is preparing for this.
So we were pretty much caught off guard with the exact wording of the law and what was expected. We were not brought into the loop at all or consulted. And, for an agency like Oklahoma City, and I've talked to the Metro Chiefs partnership that we have, and we're all very concerned about it and how we're going to enforce this, the demand it's going to put on our personnel. How do you do it without racially profiling, especially the way the law is written? And, in my opinion, I believe when the Attorney General wanted this law passed, he looked at the marijuana crimes and the human trafficking, and to me there should have been something in there more specific to that, because the way it's worded now, it's almost like everybody we come in contact with, we have to check their immigration status, and that is not good for the community.
Right, and that was going to be my next question. As it's worded, it says that law enforcement can ask about documentation status when they're investigating any crime. So what does that mean? Literally any crime?
Well, the way it's worded, the person could be a victim, and you do not want to be questioning their immigration status. And the thing that concerns us the most in law enforcement is we struggle right now getting people that are in those communities where they may be undocumented to report crimes, and they're heavily victimized because criminals know that. They know they're going to be fearful of calling the police, and so this is just going to make that worse. And so we're working with our legal staff in trying to figure out how we can reach a resolution in this and not overburden our police officers, and then also to do it in a way that doesn't rise fears in the community where people will still reach out to us. And I just don't know the answer to that. It's very complicated.
Okay, and this is something that we're going to continue following, and we'll talk about it more. Let's switch over to some other topics here within the police department. This past December, you launched the mental health guide, and the department also has the iPad Telemet program. So talk about how those programs have been helping.
It's been great. I mean, the iPad program allows our officers to connect someone with a mental health professional while they're on the scene out there, and in most cases that can prevent a transport to a facility. So that's been very good. Also too, the mental health guide kind of came about because there's been so many changes to mental health that it seemed like every time I issued a chief's directive on best practices, it would change. Or we would get another alternative response responder out there. And so we patterned it after what we did during COVID, because as you remember, during COVID, it was like almost daily that they were coming out with information on how you should interact with people, what law enforcement should do. So we created the mental health guide in the same, the same way as that, so that the officers, we can continually update that, and the officers always have something that they can refer to as a best practice.
Okay. You're also hosting a hiring event later this month. Talk about where the department is right now when it comes to filling open positions.
So we're at 135 of our sworn positions we still need to fill. We're running 3 academies a year. Applications have picked up a little bit, and it seems like too, running those 3 academies, they're a little bit smaller. We're having a better retention rate, because it seems like the smaller academies allow more one-on-one instruction time and more time spent with those individuals. So we're seeing a better retention rate in that as well. The 135 is the lowest we've been in quite a while. So we want to fill those as quick as we can. And also too, when you look at how much Oklahoma City is growing, when we fill those positions, we're probably going to be looking at how do we add more to deal with the growing city that we have.
Right. Okay. So when is that happening? Give our viewers the details for that and what they need to know. What do they need to bring with them? All that information.
So if you'll just go to our social media, to our OKCPD recruiting page, all of that information will be there about the event and where it's being held and what they need to do that. And that's the best way to get that information. And we're going to have our officers are going to be out there. They're going to be a part of the event. We'll have some of our equipment out there. It's going to be a big deal, and we're hoping we get a big response. And also too, they'll be able to do things like learn more about the process. They can run the obstacle course and have a little bit of the unknown taken away in what that application process is.
Right. And speaking of hiring, we're still waiting on your replacement here after you announced your retirement. Quick update on that process.
They opened the position last Friday. They're taking applications now. I believe that will close June 7th. And then they'll start narrowing that down and doing the interviews and things, the process for that. I've been told that probably around the first, second week of July, they hope to have someone in place, and I'll be ready for that so I can go enjoy the summer. But yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Change is always good, and I look forward to seeing how that process works out.
Right, and let's talk about something fun now. OKC Thunder, we are doing so well in the playoffs right now. Talk about the department's role in security here with all the playoff games we're having, Thunder up in the park, and then even looking ahead to the possibility of the finals.
Sure, it's something that we take very seriously. NBA has requirements on the levels of security and what we do, and those get a little bit more stringent as they advance through the playoff process. So right now, we have officers in place for the pregame festivities that are down there and making sure everybody's safe there. We have, a traffic plan to make sure people get in and out of the stadium. We have officers inside the venue and then outside too, just maintaining security. And it's, like I said, it's something we've prepared for and we've been ready for. And we, just as it goes through, we're going to keep adding to that. And the goal is just to make sure everybody's safe and enjoys the event. And we might as well start planning a parade, I think.
I know,
so,
I think so too.
Yeah.
We don't want to jinx it. Let's knock on some wood here.
There you go.
Yes,
there you
but
go.
we are preparing for that. Chief Gourley, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay.